with me. Oh, from the garden, oh, let me and tiptoe through the tulips with me.
While tulips are synonymous with Holland, the well-loved flower is actually an Asian native. The first wild tulips are believed to be from the Pamir Mountains in Asia, dating back to the 1300s. From here, the blooms traveled throughout the Tian Shan Mountains as well. Out of about 120 different types of tulips found in these areas, most possessed variations of red and scarlet petals. Due to harsh conditions in this area, these ancient bulbs were winter hardy, but also able to survive dry summers. Wild tulips were also found in Turkey and Persia, with the belief that the Turks are responsible for the tulips' westward journey. In 1520, Suleiman the Magnificent took over the Turkish Empire. It is believed that during his reign, tulip domestication began. The products of this selective cultivation were called Istanbul tulips. These flowers had long and thin petals with pointed tips, and were generally of red or orange color varieties. Since they were cultivated before the knowledge of modern genetics, the farmers of the time used to pour red wine over the tulip beds to try to change the color of the petals, but we know now today why that didn't work, is because the color relies on genes and breeding rather than what color wine you may pour over the tulip beds. The original wild tulips were much more robust than the delicate flowers we have today. Here we have a side-by-side comparison of the wild tulips on the left, which were close to the Istanbul tulips, versus today's tulips, which are depicted by tulips in Holland on the right. You can tell the difference between the rounded flower petals over years of domestication, that this is the preferred type that has been selectively bred throughout the years. Tulips were depicted so often in ancient Turkish Renaissance art that it was believed Westerners who traveled to the palace as ambassadors discovered the tulips, as many were displayed in glass vases throughout the palace. Author of Tulipomania, the story of the world's most coveted flower and the extraordinary passions it aroused, Mike Dash challenges a previously held belief with this argument. It was previously believed that Lopo Vaz de Sampaio, the governor of Portugal, India, turned prisoner upon his return home, had smuggled the tulip bulbs on his expedition back to Portuguese India. But Mike Dash argues that it is likely that the tulips he smuggled would have been seized upon his entrance to the ship. While Dash does admit there is a possibility the tulips weren't seized, he argues that it was nearly improbable that they would not have been. So very possible that they were, and therefore presents this new argument that tulips were discovered by Western ambassadors visiting the Turkish Empire's palace.
Showers away, and I kiss you in the garden, in the moonlight. You pardon me and tiptoe through the tulips with me.